Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. A full-scale overhaul of New York's gun laws went into effect today. These consist of new restrictions on who can apply to carry a gun. It will include a list of gun-free zones that no one is allowed to carry in, Times Square being one of them. Some of the other restrictions are here on your screen. Governor Hochul introduced these new requirements in response to the tragic shooting at a Tops in Buffalo this past spring. To learn more information about what it takes to carry a gun now in New York, you can visit the website on your screen or visit your local permits office. You only have tonight to order a free at-home COVID test. The State Department of Health announced that it would be suspending orders for the test kits tomorrow. You can order 3 shipments, which comes out to 16 tests in all for free. All you have to do is go to the website on your screen. The city of Elmira will begin milling and paving multiple streets starting next week. The road work will begin September 6th and run through the 15th. A final round of work will then take place from the 21st through the 29th. Crews will notify drivers of the respective streets before the work begins. The city asks that all cars are removed from the streets and driveways before 6 a.m. All work dates are weather dependent. We are 2 months away from midterm elections, and many voters are eager to get to the polls. Something driving many voters? Inflation. Madison Scarpino has more from Pittsburgh.
We're just under 70 days from the midterm election in November, and inflation is on the minds of many voters. Votes here in Pennsylvania are important for both parties because those swing states can decide who controls the House and Senate.
How much more can we handle? I'm on Social Security. I'm on a fixed income.
Bob Hamilton is a Republican and has lived in Pennsylvania his whole life. He says inflation is out of control. The economy is always a big issue for voters, and all the more important this year as inflation hits its highest point in decades.
The prices of food and restaurants and so forth, day-to-day things. I think people are feeling that pain.
And Americans are taking that pain to the polls. A Fox News poll shows nationwide inflation is the top priority for voters. Most Americans say it's more of a problem than abortion, border security, climate change, guns, and voting rights.
It will get some people to the polls who might not otherwise have come out.
And inflation is not just an issue on the right.
I'm independent. I kind of align myself more so with Democrats, but I'm not really impressed with how expensive things are, and it's not entirely their fault, but they're the ones in charge, they get the blame.
For some, it's part of a bigger problem.
Inflation itself, I wouldn't say is driving me to the polls, but the concept of a living wage that keeps up with inflation definitely is.
While others say there needs to be a change in who controls Congress.
In order to get the inflation down, in order to get our economy to where it's not spiraling sideways up and down in the other, they're going to have to take both House and Senate, and they're going to have to roll back some of the craziness.
And latest Fox News power rankings show Republicans are still the favorite to take control of the House, but in the Senate, it's a toss-up. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
You may want to check your refrigerator and pantry because multiple products are on recall this week. Wegmans lemon dill finishing butter in the 3.5-ounce tubs are on recall for a potential listeria contamination. The baby formula Similac is on recall due to concerns of a bacterial infection. Other products on recall this week include Pizza John's pepperoni pizza, white fudge animal cracker cookies, and fruitberry berry mixes. Walmart is making a move to bring affordable beef to its shoppers. The retail giant has acquired a minority stake in Sustainable Beef LLC. Walmart says the move will create more than 800 jobs and is part of its push to develop a network of meat processing plants providing Angus beef products for its stores. Walmart says the deal also provides it and its customers better visibility into the food supply. For one day this week, movie theaters across the country will offer a discount on movie tickets. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg tells us where we can take part in National Cinema Day.
Movie theaters across the country were hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. With people not able to come in and see movies, many theaters closed down. Now with the rise of at-home streaming platforms, theaters continue to be at risk even though most theaters are now fully open. One study says that close to 50% of pre-pandemic moviegoers no longer attend theaters, and almost 10% of them will never return. National Cinema Day is this Saturday, September 3rd. Thousands of theaters across the country are taking part in the celebration by offering $3 movie tickets. Theaters participating in National Cinema Day will also have exclusive access to previews from some of the industry's biggest studios. One of the theaters participating in the event is the Regal Theater at the Arno Mall. Some of the movies being shown on Saturday include Spider-Man No Way Home, Beast, Top Gun Maverick, DC League of Super Pets, and many more. Another theater participating is the Palace Theater in Corning, which will be showing Spider-Man No Way Home and Dragon Ball Superhero. So far, this summer's box office numbers are up 91% from 2020. This summer's blockbusters have given local theaters hope that the industry can continue to thrive in the modern day. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Corning.
Tonight, Big Fox has our first Pet of the Week. Our Maggie Hall is teaming up with the rescue Paws and Purrs to introduce us to Foxy.
So Paws and Purrs is a foster-based rescue. We've been in existence for 6 years now. All of our animals are in foster homes throughout the area, Steuben, Schuyler, Chemung counties.
Meet Big Fox's first pet of the week, Foxy.
I have Foxy with me today. Foxy is a shepherd mix. We are told she's shepherd, boxer, and lab. She's 1.5 years. She is a lot of energy. She would do best in a home with a fenced-in yard, not required, but it would just help burn off some of her energy, or a very active family. She would make a great jogging partner, hiking buddy. She's great with other dogs, so she would really benefit from being with another dog. Cats, I would say no to, unfortunately, and maybe not little toddlers, because she is not a large girl, but medium-sized, but because of her energy, she could accidentally knock them over.
Paws and Purrs is always looking for foster parents and for people to adopt their fosters. Their website is pawsandpurrs.org, and that's with a Z instead of an S.
For more information about Foxy and some of the other animals that Paws and Purrs has up for adoption, be sure to visit their website. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
Still ahead, we have your complete forecast. Plus,
climate change is causing a gender imbalance in sea turtles. I'm Marianne Rafferty with a closer look at the dangers facing these endangered species coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
It was a gorgeous start to the month of September as we stayed under the bright blue sky. We saw a few passing clouds, but temperatures topped off just around into those 70s, so very pleasant for this time of the year. But there is going to be some changes to track. What we do notice that there is some of that lingering moisture within the atmosphere, so some patchy fog may develop into our morning forecast. So note that if you are an early morning commuter, you'll want to make sure to have those headlights on and travel with some care there. We'll look at those temperatures though to drop into the 40s through the overnight, so still those cool, comfortable conditions to start off the day, upwards of even 5 to 10 degrees below the average as we typically drop into the 50s. We're falling down to about 45 into Corning, 46 in Elmira and Wayland, just around 50 degrees. So a cool start to the day, but we are going to start to tap into some warming over the next few days. So Friday's forecast is expected to show that we'll break out of that fog as we step towards about the mid-morning. As we're able to do that, those temperatures should turn around pretty quickly. We're going to see a southerly wind work its way across much of the state of New York and turn those temperatures back up into those 80s. So we see the bright sunshine all day long, and we'll top off just around that low 80 threshold, which is just on par for average for this time of the year, as 80 is our average in Elmira. We're climbing to 82 in Elmira, 83 into Corning, to about 81 into Wayland. So with this comfortable sunshine to continue, note, it is going to start to feel a little bit warmer. By Saturday, we watch those temperatures get up to those mid to upper 80s. We're at 87 into Elmira to 85 into Wayland. Westfield just around 84 degrees. And you're also noting that we're going to have some partly cloudy skies, because what's heading for us is going to be another low pressure system. What's setting up is that we have a high pressure system here that's been dominating our forecast today, as well as what will be in place on Friday. Now that high pressure system is going to start to work its way to the east coast, but as we become between these high and this low pressure system, that's what's allowing for those temperatures to return back into the 80s. But then a cold front is going to be slowly draping its way across portions of New York. And what also is going to happen is it could become stationary. And when it becomes stationary, it's going to keep us in this environment of continuing to see some of those warmer temperatures build and the humidity continuing to build as well. As when we look at the dew points as we head through the holiday weekend, we are going to be settling into those 60s and lower 60s at that from Saturday all the way through Tuesday. So it's not going to be excessive heat and humidity, but it's going to be enough moisture that's within the air that we will be dealing with the potential of some shower and thunderstorm chances. So when we look at the forecast, we're not seeing too much for chances on Saturday, but come Saturday evening into Sunday, that's going to be our best chance for some showers and thunderstorms, because that's when that frontal system will be at its closest proximity and have more of that push to bring those showers and thunderstorms. Now, with the potential of more cloud cover and that thunderstorm threat, we will be able to pull those temperatures back into the 80s, but that's still at least average for this time of the year. We'll keep that storm chance at least through about Tuesday, but then we should break into some of those brighter skies and some warming temperatures as we head into latter parts of next week.
Climate change is pushing an adorable species of marine animal to the brink of extinction. Marianne Rafferty has more on why rising temperatures are creating a gender imbalance in sea turtles and a look at its already devastating effects.
Believe it or not, temperature has a role in determining the sex of certain types of animals.
Sea turtles, like a couple of other species like crocodilians, are temperature dependent in the egg. So the hotter side of the nest typically hatch out females. The cooler side of the nest hatch out males.
And when it comes to sea turtles, every birth is critically important.
All species of sea turtles in and around the United States and Florida are listed on the Endangered Species Act as either threatened or endangered.
But as climate change continues creating warmer seasons,
the last 4 summers in Florida have been the hottest summers on record.
The increasing temperatures are creating a gender imbalance among these at-risk creatures.
Overall, the beach itself is a bit hotter than it used to be. We're hatching out significantly more females, which long-term is not fantastic for the numbers.
According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, if sea turtle eggs are incubating at temperatures below 81.86 degrees, the babies will be male. If incubation is above 88.8 degrees, they'll be female.
The scientists that are studying sea turtle hatchlings and eggs, they have found no boy sea turtles, so only female sea turtles for the past 4 years.
If this gender imbalance exacerbated by climate change continues, there may not be enough males to reproduce with, causing sea turtles in the wild to go extinct. And sea turtles are already facing an uphill battle without worrying about climate change, with biologists saying only 1 out of 1,000 babies makes it to adulthood. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
City leaders in Denver are looking into a proposal that would provide basic income for some families dealing with homelessness. It's part of an effort to curb homelessness in the city. Rogelio Mares has more.
Call it free money.
The goal of the program is really to help people regain housing and support as many people in homelessness resolution as we can.
Call it a handout.
Participants will receive either a cash transfer to their bank account or a debit card.
But the city's Department of Housing Stability calls it their job. It's the Basic Income Program. $2 million will be used to fund it, in part from taxpayer dollars, private donors, and corporate leaders. If approved, the program would provide a basic income to qualified families. It was organized in part by Jennifer Bice, Director of Data Policy and Strategy at the Department of Housing Stability.
They will receive either $6,500 up front and $500 for 11 months thereafter. $1,000 per month for 12 months.
In order to qualify, families must go through community organizations and meet certain criteria before they're considered for basic income.
They must be connected to that community-based organization, and they must not have a significant and unaddressed substance use or behavioral health need.
The program is modeled after others around the country, including one from Stockton, California. There, 125 residents were selected at random to receive $500 a month over 2 years. Organizers of the Denver proposal say they're hoping qualified recipients will use the income for housing, food, utilities, their necessities, and not drugs or alcohol.
One study found a 39% reduction in spending on alcohol, drugs, and cigarettes.
This is just a proposed program for now, the results of which could dictate the future of a basic income for qualified families.
As we gather that information and hear those results, we'll be considering what our next steps are.
Still ahead, the government says 8.5 million people are behind on their rent, and half of those expect to be evicted. We'll tell you where it's the worst coming up. Airlines caved to public pressure to cover meals and lodging for passengers whose flights are delayed or canceled. Plus, a growing number of Americans are forced to take out loans to pay for groceries, and Netflix weighs charging a whopping sum for ads. Madison Allworth has today's business briefs.
Several major U.S. airlines commit to free meals and overnight lodging for passengers facing delays and cancellations. United, Southwest, and JetBlue are among those agreeing to accommodate inconvenienced travelers for issues, quote, within the airline's control, like mechanical problems. This comes as the largest pilot union in the world is organizing protests outside of airports across the country today, ahead of what's expected to be a chaotic Labor Day weekend. The off-duty pilots plan to walk the picket line in 13 cities over their frustration with extended contract talks for better compensation. A growing number of Americans are taking out loans using buy now, pay later apps to help pay for basic goods like groceries. In 2021, $45.9 billion were pay later transactions. That's up from just $15.3 billion worth in 2020. And brands will need to shell out the big bucks if they want to advertise on Netflix's upcoming ad-supported platform. The streaming site reportedly wants to charge advertisers $65 for reaching 1,000 viewers. Buyers at a meeting last week saying that price is substantially higher than other streaming platforms. The Wall Street Journal is also reporting Netflix is preparing to launch that new version in November. That's business. I'm Madison Allworth.
As rent prices reach record highs, many Americans are facing the threats of not being able to afford their housing costs. Jeff Flock is in Philadelphia with the latest.
I am in the Germantown neighborhood in Philadelphia, where there are lots of rental properties, and in major cities across the U.S., rents are out of control. Even cities where there is rent control, like New York City, the highest prices in the nation for one-bedroom apartments, almost $4,000 a month for a one-bedroom. San Francisco's more than $3,000 a month. Boston, San Jose, upwards of $2,700 a month. The U.S. Census Bureau says there are now 8.5 million Americans behind on their rent payments. And they say almost 4 million of those expect to be evicted. We checked in with the Eviction Lab, which has been keeping track of 31 cities across 6 states. They say as of March 2020, there have been 1 million eviction filings. And in the past week, 8,500 plus eviction filings. We talked to a landlord organization here in Philadelphia who says it is tough both for tenant and landlord, particularly the small-time landlords.
If you have one unit and one tenant is not paying, you're taking on a chin 100%. If you're a big boy and own 1,000 units, then you have 1 or 2 or even 10 people not paying. It's a much different story. 74% of all low to moderate income housing is owned by mom and pops.
All of that has led to Attorney General Merrick Garland putting out an extraordinary video where he asks lawyers across the country to come out and donate their time to try and help keep people out of the eviction process and fight evictions. It's tough even in the smaller cities across the country, even where rents are cheapest. Taking a look at those, Akron, Ohio, with the cheapest one-bedroom rents in the country, $650 a month. Wichita, Kansas, also Lubbock, Shreveport, and Lexington on the low end, but evictions there as well in the flyover states. In Philadelphia, I'm Jeff Flock with the Fox Business Network.
Stay with us. We'll have more right after this. We want to leave you with a smile, and this is definitely something you won't see every day. Dozens of goats got to cruise down the Chicago River Wednesday. The 5-boat parade, departing from the City Winery dock just before noon, was part of an end-of-summer celebration by ComEd, one of the largest electric companies in Illinois. The goats are part of a herd of more than 200 that help clear vegetation throughout the state. ComEd uses them in hard-to-reach areas near power lines. According to the company, they help cut costs and reduce safety risks for workers. I'm Scott Beadle. Thanks so much for watching.